Welcome to Future Focus, a financial strategies podcast where we make the complex simple. My name is Troy Branch. I'm joined here, almost as always, by my colleague, Keali Jo French.
Hello.
And Jacob Messick.
Troy, I'm digging these tropical Tuesdays that we have going on. You know, getting out of the car, walking into the office, people are seeing the Hawaiian shirts from you and I. Mm-hmm. A little bit, some smiles, some laughs. Everyone's starting to realize something's going on these Tuesdays when we're wearing these type of shirts. So I'm enjoying it.
We're just going to ignore why Keali Jo doesn't have one.
Okay, I swear I did have one at one point, but I threw it away because, who needs Hawaiian shirts?
Because no one ever has a Hawaiian theme.
Apparently not.
We got plenty to keep going for the summer, so I'm enjoying it. Hopefully you are too.
I am.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and dive in. So let's talk about this episode. Listener episode, actual episode number 30, listener episode number 4. And so we're really excited about it. We're going to do something a little bit different. For those of you who don't know, I was a Division I was a Division I athlete. I was an inside linebacker, and all my inside linebacker brethren out there, you know why I say inside linebacker. We're not outsides, we're insides. I was an inside linebacker, and we had this thing. A lot of sports, but football in particular, we have this thing where we practice, we play, and then we go into film sessions. And the old adage was, "The eye in the sky doesn't lie." It doesn't care who your parents were. It doesn't care where you came from. It doesn't care if you had a bad morning or a bad night. It doesn't care. It just tells a story. So we're going to do an Eye in the Sky Doesn't Lie episode along with our listener episode. We're going to do something where we kind of asked, I kind of went out and asked AI to review all of our episodes, all at this point, 28 or 29 episodes that we filmed up to this point. I asked it to look at it and critique us. So we're going to have our own version of the Eye in the Sky Doesn't Lie during today's listener episode.
Oh, maybe we should provide a little bit more context. So Troy's sitting in his office one day, putting this into AI, and Jacob walks in and says, "Hey, Troy, what you up to?" And you tell me, "Hey, I'm having AI start to learn and listen to our podcast episode." So obviously, the first thing that comes to mind to me is, which one of the three of us does AI like the best?
Me.
And so then we didn't want to put AI in an awkward spot of picking its favorite child. So then it went to, what does AI say that we're doing well? But then it's like, well, we can't just have it tell us what we're doing good. I want to know what it says we need to improve on. And so it's like, what does AI think we need to work on? And so when you had mentioned the reflection episode, it's like, this is perfect. Let's see and let's see out for the first time and see how we're doing.
I still want to know who's the favorite.
Yeah, well, I can go back. The thread's still open, so I can go back and ask it. But and then we said, not only critique us, but then we said, we should have a little bit of fun. You know, you ever watch mean tweets? I think those are kind of fun. Why don't we do that? We get a little bit of critique, tell us what we're doing okay, but then we also get a little bit of mean tweet. So that's what we're going to do today.
And hopefully this one, because I know like my family watches this, quite often. I'm sure yours does and yours as well. So that way maybe the family gets to see us read a little bit of commentary about ourselves, and I'm excited to see what those comments are.
So I have them right here. I have the both the positive sort of thing, and then I have the mean tweet. And I'm going to give. So we're going to ask 3 listener questions, or we're going to answer 3 listener questions. After each listener question, one of us is going to read their sort of evaluation by the eye in the sky, namely AI. I didn't mean that alliteration, but it kind of works. So let's go ahead and get started. We actually have to answer some listener questions before we can get to that part.
No, I want the dessert first.
All right. Yeah. So, question number 1, and we've sort of dug into this question in a couple of different ways, and so I want you to approach it a little bit differently, but the question from the listeners is, how do I know I'm actually doing okay financially, or if I'm just telling myself I am? So how do I actually know versus just kind of convincing myself it feels like I'm doing okay?
You want to go first?
You want rock paper scissors? Or I can go. I'll go first to tee us up, and then you can. I can start, and I got some comments along the way. So I guess to me, like you mentioned, we've talked building blocks before: budget, cash flow, net worth. So kind of focusing on a different part. And to me, it's really asking yourself these two questions. What am I doing right now with my money? And what am I trying to do short term, long term? And I think depending on what stage you are in your career, you may be focusing on different things. And I can kind of reference what comes to me in a couple of different stages. But to start with, you like that answer? Anything you'd change to that? What do you think?
I mean, I agree. We've talked about like the cash flow statements, the balance sheets, etc. And because we've talked about them in the past, I'm not defining them. So,
But you need to go back and check them if you don't know the definition.
go to prior episodes. But I mean, it's a matter of looking at where you are. You don't know where you're going unless you know exactly where you are. And I think it's a really hard thing for a lot of people to actually sit down and be objective in looking at what they have and where they are. So like I know for me, when I was in college, I was a waitress and my income was never stable. And so my expenses were stable, my income was not. It was always terrifying for me to open up my bank account and go, oh no, I'm broke, I need to pick up a shift. And so it's hard for some people to actually sit down and look at that, but it's so important that you do because you don't know where to go until you start here and figure out where you are.
Yeah. So I think, so when you're, that,
No, I was just going to say, so that's the I question for you though is my thought is you always seemed like you were sort of money savvy. Keali Jo, it feels like her experience is, I'm guessing, different than yours, where you always seem like a little bit more money savvy for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I think that piece of it grows as you expand.
Keali Jo getting mad, like,
No, I think that grows as you kind of expand through your working career. So, for example, like myself, or as you're starting out, you may be focusing on things like what Keali Jo said. Hey, making sure I'm paying my bills on time. I'm building an emergency fund. I'm saving enough to take advantage of an employer match. Maybe I'm starting to learn what a Roth is and compounding interest and having that right insurance in place. So it's those fundamental pieces. You're starting out, hey, if I'm actually doing okay, if you're starting out, it's focusing on things like that. And then if you're in the middle of your career, like, hey, what most of us are at this table right now, or this side of the table, then it's things like, you're saving across different tax buckets, tax-free, tax-deferred, taxable. You're maximizing Roth contributions. You're using the HSA. You're, updating and creating, legal documents, wills and trusts, and you're making sure you have that proper insurance coverage in place. So it's managing and making sure, hey, do I have all of these pieces working for me in the right direction?
And we need to make sure that it's not just like you're assuming that things are going well, because you might be thinking, okay, the bills are getting paid, I'm doing fine. Again, it's going back to what's on paper. I need to objectively look at where I am and what's going on. Are we doing the things that Jacob mentioned? Are we doing them well? Are we doing them at a right rate that's good for our goals? Like objectively looking at where you are.
So just because we've talked about them previously, and we're not necessarily talking about balance sheet, income statement, and budget. Just because we've talked about them and we're not talking about them now, we don't erase those things.
No, they're still very
like
important.
those are still important to actually know if you're doing well or not.
So that's where it may be asking yourself, I know there's a handful of questions you can ask yourself, but if I want to say, hey, what are maybe 3 or 4 key questions that come to mind, no matter the stage you're in, if you're in beginning your career, your mid-career, a question like, hey, can you handle a surprise expense without panic? Yes, no, these type of ones, if you're answering yes, hey, maybe you're doing okay, but can you handle a surprise expense without panic? Do you have a plan for your big goals? House, kids, retirement, travel. Are you making intentional decisions instead of reactive ones? And then do you know what your goals are? Do you know your numbers? Do you know your goals? Can you see if you're making progress? That, we talked about a couple episodes ago, behavior, the math and the behavior. So some of those behavior questions are all things to, if you're asking yourself those questions, those things to make sure you're on track.
The math, the behavior drives the math, but the math sort of validates the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we
Look
will.
at that. I just came up with that one on the spot. I didn't write that one down earlier.
And I think good spot too is we say, hey, this is just general information, like always.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Not advice. Everyone's situation's a little bit different. This is just some general information for some things that you can be thinking on, no matter the stage of your career that you're in.
All right. I think we've exhausted that one. So now, to
No.
the dessert. Let's see who's up first.
And I will say too, like we truly don't know what's on the paper, so I'm excited to see because
It took great pains to make sure that they didn't see what was on the paper. Here we go. This one's Keali Jo's.
Do I have to go first?
You go first.
All right.
So are we reading the things that
So
are
you read.
nice?
So how you want to do it? Do you want to sandwich it, or do you want to read the two things that are nice first, or you want to just rip the Band-Aid off and do the mean tweet?
I like to rip the Band-Aid off.
So Keali Jo's going to do the rip the Band-Aid off.
Okay, so mean tweet. Keali Jo, if you're confused, say it. Don't just sit there and let it go. You're basically our last line of defense, and sometimes you just let the jargon win. Well, first and foremost, I feel attacked. I think that's a fair critique. If I'm confused, I should stop, because I'm sure the listener is also confused. Okay, 2 things you do well, because I'm not allowed to respond, really, am I?
No, we can't.
Okay.
We can't argue with AI. So.
I mean, AI does hallucinate, so. Number 1. You bring real life into the room. You consistently ground the conversation in what decisions actually feel like for people, not just how they're supposed to work on paper. I
See,
appreciate
that feels good.
Yeah, I like that one.
It dulls the pain. Number 2, you protect clarity without making it feel forced. You have a natural instinct for when something is drifting, and you pull it back in a way that feels conversational and not corrective. Appreciate it.
I can live. Well, I can live with that for you.
For me. Wait till we see yours.
Exactly.
I think those are two good compliments. So.
All right. Listener question number 2. Let me make sure I get to the right. There we go. Hold on. Is that 2 or 3? I can't read that. Oh, that's 3.
Why aren't you using your own today, Troy?
Because anyway, it's been a long day. All right. So, listener question number 2. What's a financial decision people most often wish they had slowed down on?
Gosh, that's a tough one. I think it's like Jacob said a little bit earlier. Are you being reactive or are you being proactive? Are you being deliberate in your decisions? There's a lot of things that you can decide financially that may just come up and you just go with your gut instinct because you feel that confidence come first before you feel that assurity in what your decision is. So that could be things such as like taking your Social Security earlier than you should be, picking a business entity structure right off the bat off feelings instead of looking at the tax and liability protection. It can be anything like that, but it's more so about making sure that we're taking a step back. We don't have to be slow all the time, but be deliberative in your decisions. It's a good thing to actually stop and take a beat and really think about what these mean in the long term and not just the short term impact.
Oh, I like that, and we didn't talk ahead of time on this one because you kind of checked off a few things that I was thinking of as well, too. And to me, I feel like it's those decisions that, might, things that you can't unwind easily. So, it's decisions that are permanent or things that you've made under pressure. And, the permanent decisions, you mentioned the business entity claiming Social Security. Maybe it could also be things like even just buying a new vehicle or purchasing a house or illiquid property or, taking on some type of long-term debt, pension, elections, all those permanent type decisions that, that come to mind there.
So maybe it's always a good opportunity if you don't really know what a good option is for what's in front of you to consult a financial professional. This is a great opportunity for you to sit down with somebody who does know, who could probably give you some insight and help you make a better decision.
At least I was going to say at least give you a spectrum to work on. Mm-hmm. Can I chime in this one? Because I'm gonna give you something specific. You kind of alluded to it a little bit, but it was just funny. Now that I think about it, especially when we get to read mean tweets. Probably the 2 things that I see that I frankly worry about with my kids, and I look back on it was a worry then, and I don't foresee it not being a worry. But it's either, if you talk about something specific, it's either for me and applying it, it's either the house, that first piece of property that you purchase. If you're lucky enough and you're working towards that, it's either the house or the car. Just the number of times that I think back to man, I should have probably got the door handle fixed on my old 89 Grand Am. And then I got so mad at it that I just got rid of it, traded it in, and that started, the next 2 decades of car payments, right?
Well, and that's, for a lot of people, at least starting out, those might be some of the biggest purchases that they make a decision on, at least early on in their career.
Yeah. So that's probably, those are like obviously generally yes, but specifically, if I were answering this question, it would be slow down on that first purchase, not do it, but just slow down on it and think about it. And then the car one, I think about that a lot. Like, man, all those car payments that I could have had if I would have just spent the money to fix that door handle and not been so mad that it broke.
Well, that's what I think is, like you said, it's reviewing options. All right, if I make this decision A, what does that look like? If I make decision B, what does that look like? And weigh in the pros and cons of both. And, that way you're not rushing into a decision because, hey, you have that fear of missing out. You can spend that time and really take a look to say, hey, which path makes the most sense in my situation?
Yeah. We good? Mm-hmm. All right, boy. We're ready to wind up questions this time.
Let's get these questions done. I want to see what's on the
out of the way. All right, Jacob, this is yours.
All right. Hopefully my reading skills are, I'm going to go with I want to feel good first. Okay. So we're going to do 2 things that Jacob does well. Number 1, you make complex things understandable without pretending they're simple. You constantly explain difficult concepts in a way that people can actually follow without stripping away the nuance. Yep, that sounds like... That sounds like me.
That's a lot of questions where I'm like, dude, land the plane, answer the question.
Even that answer's long. It's like, hey, Jacob likes long answers. We'll give him a long answer. All right, second one. Here, I don't know about this one. You stabilize the conversation when it starts to drift. He
drifts the conversation.
When things get too technical or too loose, you're usually the one who brings it back to something grounded and useful. So yes. So
like, how do you like your vacation? Do you like a sandy beach or a mountain?
So when you guys get too technical on that side, I bring it back for the listeners to listen to. So yes, I like that. Okay.
You did say AI hallucinates, right?
It does.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Here's the mean tweet one. Jacob, we get it. You know the answer, but sometimes it feels like you skip straight to the conclusion and leave the rest of us trying to figure out how you got there. Say what you're actually thinking along the way. Okay, I'll take that. I'll work on that. So it just
that's a lot of words to say, dude. Just answer the question.
I will focus on answering the question.
I think it's trying to say you need to make the answers longer. You got to explain why.
All right, that's there we go.
All right,
that was fun.
The last one's me. I'm not gonna look at it yet. All right, so we're gonna move on to question number 3. Question number 3. Is it ever too late to change course financially, or do most changes just come with trade-offs?
I'll go first, and I'll practice what my sheet said. So, is it ever too late to change course financially? No. Do most changes come with a trade-off? Yes. And then I'll leave it there, nice and short.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's a lot.
You're going to throw you off. Next time we do this from 30 on, it's going to be like, what's going on?
Now, there's a lot more I want to say, but I'll stop right there.
I'd say it's never too late to change course. In accounting, we have this thing called the sunk cost fallacy, where an individual, and I'm explaining it right now.
Oh, no.
Yes, I am. You didn't even let me say what the explanation is.
You said sunk cost fallacy.
Where the individual has an issue looking at something that they've spent a lot of time in efficiency.
That's jargon. Are you really going to try
to make that argument? I was about to explain it, and you cut me off.
I can't believe that.
Can we have a show of hands? Did he cut me off?
I didn't hear no cutoff.
No?
Go ahead.
I hate all of you. Sunk cost fallacy. Anyway, what the sunk cost fallacy is when you are trying to make a decision about the future, but you're taking into account all the time and energy and resources you've poured into something else that you've done in the past, when really you should not take that into consideration whatsoever, because you're not getting that back. It is a sunk cost. You need to move on and make a decision based on what's in front of you and what you want to do moving forward. So it's never too late to change direction. Of course, like some people may argue that you might need to consider a little bit of what to do with that sunk cost, but in reality, it shouldn't weigh too heavily in your decision making for the future.
No, I think,
I
that fits. I mean, I wrote down kind of not shifting from, hey, what should I have done earlier to, all right, what's the move from here? And, it's just, moving forward, whether, like we said, that, changes, it's just what we're talking, hey, if I don't make a change, what's door number A? If I do make the change, what does door number B look like? And so, a lot of times we get this when someone's getting close to retirement. And so maybe it's making additional contributions to save towards retirement. Maybe it's working a little bit longer, adjusting their lifestyle now or in retirement. It's just planning needs to be more intentional when you get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Short answer, it's never too late. And what was the other part of the question?
Short answer, a trade-off.
It's never too late. There's always a trade-off. Mm-hmm. It's always on a continuum.
That's where I think, talking with a financial professional, reviewing what those paths look like, lets you see what those, like it goes back to the second question, making a change too fast, then something that you can't change, or it's a permanent change. It's being able to review things to make sure, hey, is this the right change that I need to make? Should I be increasing my saving rate, or do I need to reduce debt, tighten up my spending? What am I trying to achieve with my goals? And then it's just adjusting from there.
Absolutely. So we good on question number 3?
I want to hear your mean tweet.
Let's see. All right, so here's mine. I'm like Jacob. I'll whenever we'd watch film, the good stuff would be like, yeah, that was it. It was just, it's the stuff that you knew. You were like, ooh, this is coming. So I'm gonna read the 2 things I do well. It says, you anchor every conversation in consequences. You consistently bring discussions back to what actually happens when decisions are made, not just how they work in theory.
Okay.
I can live with that.
I like those 2.
You're comfortable leaving things unresolved. It depends. You don't rush to force certainty, and that creates space for better thinking instead of quick answers. It's nice to see my context and deliberative for my Gallup strengths, playing out in real life. All right, mean tweet.
I can probably guess this one. Is we can't intro outros are always more than one take.
It's like no, it wouldn't have seen that part. Guy, what if we loaded up all of the footage?
No.
Okay, so Troy, you already made the point. You don't need to make it again. Half the time, the follow-up explanation makes it feel like you didn't trust the first one.
All right.
So
you repeat yourselves.
I just repeat myself. Not just, but I repeat myself.
Just like what you just did.
I just repeated myself.
Again.
Sometimes I say the same thing and repeat myself.
Again.
All right. All right. So what do you guys think? Should we, I mean, not something like that at some point in the future?
I liked it. Like I said,
we won't go back to the well too often, but
we can do a check back here in like 4 more listener episodes.
4 more listener episodes? All right.
I liked it. 30 episodes in, it's nice to know, hey, what's going well? What do we need to work on?
So in case you guys missed it, the theme of this was reflection. The eye in the sky is about looking back and looking at what you've done. Obviously, us sort of reading what AI thought of, has thought of future focus. And then with our listener questions, it's all about, it was all about this idea of reflecting, of looking back, of what could I have done? What should I, what should I have done? Is it too late to do something? All about reflection. So hopefully that theme comes through and came through and comes through as we get ready to move on to episode 31. So thank you so much. We hopefully you appreciated this reflective listener episode number 4. Now, as always, I'm gonna challenge you to look down below. I need you No, I'm not saying that anymore. I'm not saying smash the like button, although I just said smash the like button, and so I repeated myself again. I'm getting passive aggressive with with my comments now.
I think both of you. I was good with what I read. I think you guys are both taking a little too much, reading too much into it.
All right. So I need you to like and subscribe down below. Like and subscribe and make sure you're making comments. Comment on something about this episode or our previous episode, because that's what builds our listener episodes that we have every 5 episodes. So our next next listener episode will be episode 35. So we can't do those without your comments, liking and subscribing. Trying to think, is there anything else I'm missing?
Make sure you comment that you want to see Troy in Crocs.
If you don't know what that is, so we're not going to tell them. If you don't know what that is, you're going to have to find the episode where we talk about Crocs and socks. And we are. If you want to see me wear Crocs, then what's the number? I got to set a number.
Yeah, make it realistic.
What? 7, 5, 10?
10.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with 10.
All right. If we get 10 listener questions, then I will honor my promise in the Crocs and Socks episodes. So you got to go find that, and then I will honor my promise. And Bo's going to juggle.
Yes, I beg you to please put listener question, please.
And Bo's going to juggle. so we're going to have like one listener question. Bo juggles. I'm wearing Crocs in the background.
Please.
There you go. All right. So, hey, I want to thank everyone for your time and attention. As always, we've had a lot of fun, and I'm hopeful that you all recognize that this is for general educational purposes. That our aim here at Future Focus is to educate, and that's what it's not meant to be specific advice. So, thank you for your time and attention. This is Future Focus, a financial strategist podcast. Look forward to seeing you in episode 31. Have a great day.